If you just inherited a property, here's some things that you should not do. And number one might surprise you. Do not keep the property vacant. If you live out of state, you live in another neighborhood, don't keep the property vacant because it can attract squatters. And especially in Texas, squatters have rights, and that's going to be a whole nother can of worms. Matter of fact, we had a client that inherited a property. Some squatters moved in, and it took 2 months just to get them out of the property. Plus, the squatters destroyed the property. So here's what you can do instead. If the property is vacant, make sure to change the locks. I would also board the property up from the inside so it's hard for a squatter to get in. Another thing I would do is put the lights on a timer so at night they turn on so it seems like somebody's in the property. Another thing I would do is tell the neighbors that the property is vacant so that they can keep an eye on it. If you have an HOA, also inform them that the property is vacant. Other things you can do is make sure you keep up with the property, meaning make sure the lawn gets mowed so that when squatters see it, or neighbors or kids, they don't go in there and destroy the property and they think that somebody's in the property. That's very important. Number two, this one is super important, maybe more important than number one, is don't ignore the steps of probate. If you have a will, you have 4 years from the anniversary of the death to submit it, or the will is invalid. I've had situations where people are waiting years, 10 years, 15 years to sell their property. They think because they have a will and they show us the will and we submit it to the title company, but because it's been over 4 years, that will is no longer valid. Because the will is invalid, they find out that other people have rights to that property. Let's say your grandparents pass away, you inherited the property, and your grandparents and your grandpa, let's say, had kids outside the marriage. Now they have rights to the property. Or let's say you had siblings and all of you inherited the property together and one sibling passed away. Now it goes down to their kids. And let's say you don't have a relationship with those kids, or the kids want a share of the property, even though you feel like it should only go to you. You're going to have to deal with that situation. You will have to pay those kids out because that will giving the property to you is no longer valid. Number three, all the debts and liens attached to that property are now the responsibility of the new owner. If you do not pay that mortgage, if there's still a mortgage on that property, the property will be foreclosed on. So you need to find out how much is owed, the debts and the mortgage on that property. That's very important. Number four, I know you're going through a hard time, but do not panic sell. Figure out what your property is worth. Get 3 different offers from 3 different investors. Get a realtor to do what's called a certified market analysis. Most likely, in my opinion, they're going to do this for free to try to earn your business. If you can't afford an appraisal, that's anywhere from $500 to $1,500. Now, if you want to know what your property is worth, I'm not a realtor, but I can give you a free evaluation of what your property is worth. You want to know what your property is worth before you take offers on it. And number 5, bonus, I see this all the time. Do not assume that all the heirs to the property agree. Have a conversation. Make sure everybody's on the same page, because the worst thing that could happen, you sell the property, let's say there was no will, and somebody in your family is entitled to that property and they want more for it than you're willing to sell it for, or they're delusional on what the value is. I've seen that many times. People inherit a property and they become greedy and they want the most amount of money for that property more than what it's worth.